Dog's okay. There's a portion of that interview that created a lot of controversy today. That's an understatement. It was a portion regarding the Blunt Amendment. I want to replay that portion, listen to my question and the governor's response, and then I'll tell you what happened next. He's brought contraception into this campaign, the issue of birth control contraception. Blunt Rubio is being debated, I believe, later this week, that deals with banning or allowing employers to ban providing female contraception. Have you taken a position on that? He's said he was for that, and we'll talk about personhood in a second, but he's for that. Have you taken a position on that?
I'm not for the bill, but look, the idea of presidential candidates getting into questions about contraception within a relationship between a man and a woman, a husband and wife, I'm not going there.
Romney opposing the Blunt-Rubio measure sent an earthquake through Washington. Senator Roy Blunt and Senator Marco Rubio both support Mitt Romney. Shortly after our interview, the governor spoke with radio talk show host Howie Carr of Boston station WRKO and said this.
I didn't understand his question. Of course I support the Blunt Amendment. I thought he was talking about some state law that prevented people from getting contraception. So I was simply misunderstood the question, and of course I support the Blunt Amendment.
Let's bring in our analyst now to discuss this firestorm that, frankly, I had no intention of causing. From the right, Republican strategist Bob Clegg. From the left, Democratic strategist Dale Butland. Gentlemen, good to see you here in prime time. Bob, let me start you. You're the Republican strategist. Yeah. I mean, what do you make of this?
I think he totally, all he heard you say was banning contraceptives, and he just jumped and said, oh my God, I'm not for banning them. I don't think he listened throughout the whole question, and I don't think he was thinking about what was going on in Washington, since he's obviously here in Ohio. As the Republican, or someone running for the Republican nomination, I can't see how he wouldn't be for either the Blunt Amendment or the Rubio Amendment. The Blunt Amendment's a little broader. It allows any employer to opt out of providing contraceptives for their employees if they have a personal conscious thing about it. Rubio says you have to be a religious organization of some kind to do it. So I don't, as a nominee or wanting to be a nominee of the Republican Party, I don't see how he couldn't be for that.
It was fascinating sitting there because when I mentioned Blunt Rubio, put them both together there, and when he was so definitive in saying I don't support the bill, I figured we had made news, but my reaction, Dale, I'll bring you into this, my reaction was, okay, he's in Ohio, he's looking to November now. The Republicans know that they have a problem because they've moved to the right in this primary campaign on so many of these social issues. Romney now is beginning to move back towards center and distance himself from Santorum. That's what I'm thinking in that definitive response of his.
In a country where 99% of women use contraception, only in Bob's Republican Party would they think it's a good idea to talk about restricting access to it. Now, as for Mitt Romney's flip-flop, I would just say it goes to show it's the same old Mitt. He's not pro-choice. He's not anti-choice. Mitt's multiple choice.
Oh, take it.
Well, we wouldn't be talking about this if it wasn't the president going in and jumping in and telling religious organizations they have to provide contraceptives to their employees, even though many religious organizations, including the Catholic Church, are against it in principle. So we wouldn't be here talking about this if the president didn't want to jump in and start fooling around with religious organizations and their
Bob,
beliefs.
this whole cultural issue shtick that you guys have been on now
for
the past several weeks in your primaries, not ours. This is what's causing you to bleed women voters, bleed independent voters, and it's why you're going to lose. You keep talking about things that you can't build.
We're talking about things that the president puts into place.
Bob, you can't build a bridge. The
president brought this into the public discussion.
You can't build a bridge to the 15th
Will you admit
century.
That?
That's what you're trying to do.
Did the president bring it in? Because the president told the Catholic Church they had to provide contraceptives.
The president
told the bishops.
The president has a compromise now that's still not good enough. Still not good enough for your side, is it?
No, it's not good enough for the Catholic bishops. Oh, the Catholic bishops are on our side?
Keep it up. It's a great job. Thank you, and keep it up.
Can we agree? Can we agree on this at least? I don't play gotcha, so I was not intending at all for that to be
I don't think you caused the problem. I think he heard the words banning contraceptives.
And went from there.
And he is sensitive to the fact that he doesn't want to be seen as trying to ban contraceptives.
Okay, we'll bring this up again, obviously. Got to take a break, unfortunately. Coming up on Campaign 2012, Mitt Romney's biggest challenger, Rick Santorum. Does he need to win Ohio to keep his surge alive? Plus, the dark horse, Newt Gingrich, Could big wins in the South next Tuesday re-energize his campaign? We will hear those two sides, these arguing sides, on Ohio's primetime place for politics. Be right back.
This is ONN's Campaign 2012 with Jim Heath.
We are live in prime time. Let's let our strategists weigh in on the top political issues. I have them right here, the top political issues. It's time for two sides. We put 15 seconds on the clock, put a topic on the table, let both sides take a whack at it. From the left, Dale Butland, and from the right, Bob Clegg. We welcome them back. Gentlemen, all right, 15 seconds. We see it right there up on the clock. Bob, first question. Romney's Michigan win makes him a front runner once again.
Maybe. We've had a lot of front runners in this race, and yeah, I think it puts him in a good position. But as we've seen for the last month or two, it's changes. Newt Gingrich could come back, and with Georgia, Oklahoma, Tennessee.
All right, we got a definitive maybe, Dale.
Mitt's the front runner again, but a really weak one. 4 years ago, he won Michigan by 9 points. This year, he outspent his opponents 2-1, squeaked by 3 points in a state where his father was governor and he grew up. He's getting by on money and organization. But after talking about his wife's 2 Cadillacs and all his friends who are NASCAR owners, he's turning his perceived strength as a businessman into a liability.
All right, that was 5 extra seconds.
All right.
Remember that.
I'll
Put that in your bank.
Thank
All right, question 2 to Dale. Santorum needs an Ohio win on Tuesday to remain in the race.
After blowing a double-digit lead and snatching defeat from the jaws of victory in Michigan, Ohio's become a must-state for Santorum. Even if he wins Washington State on Saturday, which he might, he's got to go head-to-head with Romney in Industrial State and show that he can beat him.
Well, your clock is going to run out in 1 second. All right, hold that thought.
Yeah, I think he needs to win. He's ahead here in Ohio, like he was in Michigan. So if he can't hold this lead in Ohio, I think it'll cause him a problem. I think also, like I said, Newt Gingrich could be coming back, which would also cause him a problem.
All right, you're giving back 3 seconds, so
Yes.
now we're even. Question 3, Newt Gingrich will be a headline next Wednesday after winning several southern states. You brought this up.
Yeah. I mean, I think he very, very well could, which is the worst-case scenario for Rick Santorum. To have Gingrich come back again for maybe the 3rd or 4th time, just is going to take votes away from him. So I mean, that's gonna. If he doesn't win Ohio, that'll make his situation even
Michigan
worse.
could have doomed Santorum when we look back on this. All right, Dale, Santorum.
Gingrich, Santorum or Gingrich?
Gingrich, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Gingrich.
now don't take that off my time. Gingrich will be a headline if he wins somewhere other than his home state of Georgia. And right now he's losing everywhere else. Right now, the only thing standing between Newt Gingrich and oblivion is a billionaire casino tycoon who's probably seen him as a bad bet.
All right, you love these conspiracy theories. Ron Paul, he's in collusion with Mitt Romney for these delegates.
Yeah. Well, Bob is certainly more of an expert on Republican collusion than I am, but I will say that it is strange that Paul is attacking Gingrich and Santorum, leaving Romney alone. Either he thinks having Santorum and Romney at the top of the ticket will be a bloodbath for his party, or maybe Papa Paul is trying to get baby Paul a job in the Romney administration.
I don't know if Ron Paul could be in collusion with himself, let alone with Mitt Romney. So I don't think there's anything there. I think he looks at Santorum and Gingrich being his primary opponents and going for the same type of electorate. That's
All right, Bob, to Ohio, Josh Mandel's failure to attend these deposit meetings, one of his duties as treasurer, sort of, will offset Senator Brown's failure to pay his D.C. taxes.
A politician who doesn't pay their taxes is the worst of all worlds. And not only did he not pay his taxes once, it was twice. And not only did he not pay him, but his property went on the sheriff's auction list. Now, how many times does that happen to politicians or office holders?
Are you designing that 30-second ad?
No, I'm just stating fact.
There is no comparison between the two. What he's talking about is Sherrod Brown was a few months late in paying D.C. property taxes on a condo he owns. He paid a grand total of several $100s in fines and penalties. That's different from not showing up for work, which is what Josh Mandel is doing. Josh Mandel wasn't in his office 2 weeks before he started running for the Senate.
That's it.
What do you mean that's it?
That is
I
it.
didn't
The
hear any
bell
bell.
ring the bell again to make it official. One more time. There it is. Did you hear it that time?
No, I didn't. I'm still not getting it in my ear.
Well, it rang. All right, some personal thoughts about today coming up right here in prime time on Campaign 2012. Be right back. A personal note before we go. I've enjoyed covering politics and politicians for more than a dozen years. I've never played gotcha journalism. I have complete respect for the men and women who enter our political arena willing to battle it out, put up with a lot, and still manage to get some things done. I like Governor Romney. Today was my third sit-down interview with him. I've always found him to be engaging, polite, and honest. Today I asked the governor a question about a bill, explained it, and asked him about his position on it. His answer was definitive, and we moved on. I believe the question was clear. The governor now says it was not, and that's all it is. The interview is now history, and you can decide what, if any, importance it has on your vote this Tuesday.